For the Looking Back series, I'm Mary Ann Pleba. Thanks for tuning in. Our guest today is a longtime Westbrook resident. Marcy Fuller has an enormous passion for history and is a lifelong learner. Among other groups, she is a member of the America 250 Committee and has been a certified genealogist for over 30 years. Currently, she serves as president of the Westbrook Historical Society. Welcome, Marcy.
Hello, nice to be here.
Well, I'm so glad you are here. And I'm so glad our camera people are here and everybody's here. I've got a lot of questions for you. Let's see. Can you just briefly give me a bit of background on yourself, your family maybe, and what prepared you for this task of being the president?
President of the Historical Society. Well, I've been in Westbrook about 50 years, and I've got two grown children. One's still in Westbrook, one's in Clinton. And as far as history, I've always had an interest in history. I collected a lot of old picture postcards of the local towns and that, and I've been a member of the Historical Society for many years. And the opportunity came, and I just decided to, run for the presidency, and I was elected, and we've had a busy 3 years now under my watch.
That's great. Yeah, you were telling me just before we came on, you do a program a year. And I went to the one in the graveyard the other day, which was very interesting. And so I better not get ahead of myself here. Let's talk about your home building. It's located in a beautiful building. Just
Yes.
wondering how you happen to acquire that.
The town was very lucky. Leighton Lee.
We have a picture of that too.
Leighton Lee of the Lee Company in town had been using the building for his early technology museum, and he built a new museum near his factory. So the building was going to be empty, so he donated it to the town, or sold it to the town for $1, with the stipulation that it be used for something historic. So
that's
better than
the Bushnell House.
Bushnell House on
Okay.
South Main Street, yes.
Okay, the Bushnell House. But how did you get the place you're in now?
The museum on the green?
Yeah.
Well, it was originally built as a library, I think in 1904. And the society was formed in 1964, the Historical Society. And so they had a small corner of the library where they exhibited some things. And in 1977, when the town built a new library, we were lucky enough to take over the whole first floor of the old library. Mm-hmm. So that's now our museum.
Okay, and the library went by the school?
Yeah, near the elementary school on Goodspeed Drive is where the new library now is.
Okay. So you're on this committee called America 250. Could you explain a little bit about that?
Well, next year, in 2026, America will be 250 years old. So all the towns have been asked to create a committee and plan something special for the big celebration. And I've been asked to join the committee, and the one thing that I had hoped to do was have a statue built to honor someone from the Revolution. Because I noticed driving along the shoreline, Saybrook has statues, Clinton has statues, but Westbrook didn't have a statue to honor anyone. So that was my idea for Westbrook's celebration of the 250. And revolutionary figures from Westbrook, there's two main ones. There's Bushnell, David Bushnell, who invented the turtle, the first submarine, which most people all know about him. And the other one, which nobody really knew about, was Dr. John Ely. Mm-hmm. And when I researched his life and his story, I just was so impressed by it that I thought he deserved a statue.
Sounds good to me. But we'll talk a little bit more about him. But back to Bushnell's, the one with the turtle. It has nothing to do with the other house, the red house that you just acquired.
Right. That was never, David never lived in that
Okay.
house.
But was it a family house or?
It was a Bushnell home,
Okay.
yes, but probably, an uncle, a distant uncle of
Yeah.
David Bushnell's.
And what's your guess on age? I know you said.
Probably 1720.
Yeah, yeah. And I think we
We're
have
still
a
doing research to try to
1720.
establish.
That's pretty old. And we have a, there it is, the inside. Yeah, it's very beautiful inside and very.
Yeah, we were lucky enough to get
authentic.
lots of donations to decorate the inside. We couldn't get articles old enough from 1720, but so we're trying to decorate it and furnish it for like 1850,
Okay.
around that era.
And it is open to the public now, right?
Yes, that museum is open to the public the first and third Sundays of each month from 1 to 3, from May through October.
And you said earlier it was donated by Mr. Lee of the Lee Company.
Yes, Mr. Lee.
And what did he use it for? Just a meeting space?
His Museum of Early Technology was housed there.
Oh, I see. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. Well, yeah, let's talk about the prominent surgeon
Yes,
and physician.
Dr. John
Yeah.
Ely.
How did you first learn about him? Just from reading?
Well, I guess we were doing a little research on our Revolutionary War soldiers, and he is buried in the local cemetery, the old burying ground. So when we researched him further, finding his story, it just blew me away, because he was also a doctor. He was a successful doctor in treating smallpox. And he had his hospital he had built out on Duck Island, right off the coast of Westbrook. And he had advertisements in the papers advertising that he could give inoculations to people, and no one ever got sick or died. He hadn't lost any patients. So he was quite successful in that, treating that. And he was also in the state militia at the time. He was and when the war broke out, he quickly, dropped his professional life and went into his military career and worked his way. He was a colonel then, and he commanded Fort Trumbull over in New London.
Busy
And
guy.
eventually he was taken captive. He was held captive on Long Island for over 3 years.
And his wife was the.
He had married Sarah Worthington, who was the daughter of the Congregational Church's first minister.
Yeah, we have a picture of the burying ground where I believe he is, and the church in the background.
Yes, he's buried right next to his father-in-law, Reverend
Oh,
Worthington.
yeah. How about the one with the church in the background?
He's so,
Okay, so he was married to the daughter of the pastor.
yes, and they had 10 children.
Oh, there's the.
He was originally from Lyme. He was born in Lyme, but he married and raised his family and worked and all that in Westbrook, which was then known as
Yeah.
Saybrook. And
He owned several farms.
he
right?
did. He was wealthy. He owned several farms. He probably inherited them. And so but during the war, he sold a farm because he outfitted a whole regiment with clothing and arms and everything. And he spent all his money. He lost his hospital that had been burnt down by the British during the war.
The one on Duck Island?
Duck Island.
Yeah, I thought so.
So he contributed everything.
Yeah.
And being in as a prisoner for 3 years, which he was up for parole, but his fellow prisoners begged him to stay because they said, "You're the only thing keeping us alive here," with his medical talents. So he stayed voluntarily for 3 years and helped them. So when he was finally released and got home, his farms were gone, his house was in disrepair. His wife was just, so anxious from all the years trying to keep things together. And
Living with 10 kids.
yeah, and his health now was not very good either. And like I said, his hospital had been burnt down. He gave everything for the cause of the revolution. And
Now, what is that little piece of land now? We have a map shows where, Ooh, that's little.
Yeah, the Duck Island is right off the
So
coast.
what happened to it after they burnt it down? And
Well, when he
what
came
is it
back,
now?
now it's a egret rookery.
Yeah.
And so certain times of year, you're not allowed out there. Of course, the birds are
So if
kind
you
of.
did go out on a boat, you could go there most times and get
Yeah.
off and look around?
Yeah. Probably at low tide, you could actually walk out to it, but
Oh, yeah?
yeah, but
Wow.
you wouldn't want to if you're, all dressed up in your nice clothes. But yeah, there was
Right.
boats. And you wanted to keep smallpox people separate from the rest of the population because it was such a deadly disease at the time.
It's big. It's 5.6 acres. Be a nice.
Yeah, but that's what Washington, when he started to have trouble with smallpox in his troops, he sent for Dr. Ely personally, said, please come out here and help us. And he did.
Now, how did people get to be doctors back then? Because there was no medical schools, or were there?
Yale.
Oh, Yale did.
Yes,
That's right.
but there's
They
no
were-
evidence that he attended Yale, so we're not sure. Some just, maybe worked with another doctor for a little while and
Yeah.
then became doctors.
I guess he was quite a star.
He
when
was
here.
at least in the field of smallpox, definitely.
Well, we have to take a short break, and we're going to do a public service announcement. I hope it's about public access, but anyway, so don't go away. We'll be back in a minute.
Running out of time to renew your passport? Don't turn to phony websites filled with fake promises. It can take 6 weeks or more to get a passport. So if you plan to travel internationally, you might be looking for a site to expedite the process. But beware of scams. One Connecticut consumer recently reported to Better Business Bureau's scam tracker that when her local post office ran out of forms, she went to the internet to print one off. Not only did the site charge her for the form, but in filling it out online, she shared important personal information like her social security number with the scammer. And when she went to the post office, they informed her that she had indeed been scammed. While there is a charge to get a passport, the forms themselves are free. And appointments with the State Department's passport centers also won't cost you a dime. If you're running out of time, you can opt for expedited services and shipping through the official government website. That's travel.state.gov. And before you jet off on your next trip, visit bbb.org/travel for more tips.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, we're here with Marcy Fuller, president of the Westbrook Historical Society, and we're discussing Dr. John Ely. Oh, I'm sure she's got lots more information to tell you about John Ely. You said he was a commander in the...
He was a colonel in the militia
Yeah,
and commanded the Fort Trumbull in New London.
that's...
Yes. And,
Oh, and you said you also talked about the smallpox.
right.
And then when he was paroled, he was a POW, he didn't want to leave because...
Right, the other prisoners begged him to
Yeah,
stay.
because he was
And-
he was good at curing them, obviously.
Right, helping them
Yeah.
get through any
If
illnesses they had. So he did stay, and when he was finally released and got home, he realized he'd lost everything, and he applied to the government for reimbursement of his expenses. And George Washington actually sent a letter in his support saying, yes, he deserves this for all he did. It was about $20,000 he was asking for, and
bad guy.
it passed the Senate. The Senate approved this payment,
Yeah.
but then Oliver Ellsworth,
From Windsor.
yes,
One everybody in Windsor likes.
he did
Now-
not like He did not like the fact that the government should be reimbursing, and he squashed the whole thing. He
That
didn't
was
get a
pretty
penny
sad for all
he did
Yeah.
for the war, and it was many years later. I think when some of his sons or children applied again. And by then, a lot of paperwork had been lost, and they did end up getting about $5,000, which was really nothing.
Okay. Well, Oliver Ellsworth's house is still standing
Yes.
in Windsor, right on the river. It's very
Probably a statue
beautiful.
to him somewhere.
It's a DAR thing.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, well, there was a statue to somebody that nobody liked the statue, so they painted
yeah.
with red paint.
Oh.
Now that moved
happens a
inside
lot.
somewhere, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about the talk of erecting a statue. How concrete is this idea?
Well, I've contacted the people who create it. They're out in Utah, but they were the most reasonably priced one. And we're in talks, but before they can actually start, of course, they need money. And that's what my next stage is to start doing fundraisers
Okay,
to get the money so they can begin the work on the statue.
right. And if people want to know more about that, you're open a couple days. You're often around there, right? When you're
Museum
open?
is open one day a week, Wednesday mornings.
Okay,
But they can always leave a message. We get back to people. Yeah.
okay. And you said he was buried near his father-in-law. And, so one of your programs recently for Memorial Day was you and a group from...
Yeah, we had a tour, not a real tour. We had a talk on Civil War soldiers who were all buried in our lower cemetery. And we talked about the different brigades they were in and honored each one with a flag after the talk. And that was
Yeah.
well attended and enjoyed by many.
Yeah, it was well attended.
Yeah.
Oh, you said Facebook. How people knew
Yes.
about that was
Yes,
Facebook?
that's where we advertise on our Facebook page.
That's amazing. We
Yeah.
are really behind the times. Well, they might advertise, but I don't see it. So is part of the mission of WHS, your Historic Society, to take care of, kind of oversee that cemetery, or
We
both?
don't oversee them. They are town-owned. The town is responsible for any repairs or anything. But we keep an eye on it. If we notice a tree has come down or broken a stone, we make sure the town's aware. Sometimes we'll get grants to have the stones repaired. So we just keep an eye on these
Yeah.
cemeteries and do a lot of research on them.
Right. And do you do other tours
We
outside?
have, yes.
Oh, yeah.
We've done, we did a walking tour of the architecture of the buildings in the center of town, which was very interesting. And the other cemetery tour, the old burying ground, we've done a tour of that.
Okay.
We talk about.
But tours of the cemetery?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So those are pretty interesting. Well, a reception was held to honor the artists, and apparently there were a whole bunch of artists that were in Westbrook for quite a long time.
Yes, the Westbrook Gallery, which was located not far from where we are now, they had 4 major artists that all worked there together. The place was owned by Augie Hogfelt, and he had 3 of his friends, and they created many things there, from sculptures to paint to operas and music orchestral performances, and they would put on these shows for the public. In the 50s and 60s, this was a very popular place.
For artists.
Yes, for artists.
Yeah. And
So we had a reception, we had an art show. We had been given a lot of Hogfelt's art to try to sell and raise funds for our society. And we had all his work and Dave Jones' work on display. And artwork from our first president of the Historic Society, John Wilson, his work was on display. And our vice president, who had recently passed, her artwork was all on display. So we had 4 different artists featured in this show.
and Leo Jensen.
We
Was
didn't
he
have any
featured?
work.
Oh, you
of
didn't
his.
have it?
No.
Okay, so I was thinking that his work, when you had it in the carriage shed, so we should see the carriage shed, and now you,
Yeah, it's a nice
and then
place to.
okay, and the outside of it, and
Carriage shed is used for a lot of things. That's very nice to have too. It's a good.
yeah, it's
event space.
very nice inside, and we have a picture of the outside too. And there's a horse down the road. There's our horse.
Yep, that
little decked out.
horse was built at the art gallery
Okay,
there.
so one of these people did it.
and one of I'm not sure which
on
artist
the
did
list.
it.
See, I thought it was Leo Jensen, which
He might
you
have
think
made
it was? Yeah, and he was actually. They did an exhibition at Florence Grizzle, the last one, right? Not that long ago, a year
I don't know
ago.
about that.
And all his stuff was featured. It was just amazing. It's,
Yeah, but the new owners of that
contemporary.
art gallery space rescued that horse and rider and kept it. That's part of the opera that they all created.
Okay, so there's artists in that building?
Not anymore.
Oh, okay.
Not anymore.
That was from the olden days, right?
Yeah.
The 30s or 40s, whatever, yeah.
60s, 50s, 60s.
Okay.
yeah.
So, I have a few other questions. Let's see. And tell me about the books, because I know you have a lot of books in your Historic Society that are for sale.
We do. We have several books that we like to sell. The one book was published in Westbrook's bicentennial year in 1976, or America's bicentennial. And that is just, we use that as a source of facts for so many things. And that has not gone out of date at all. That's a great book to have. There's a great book about all the people and places of West Beach, which was
By
written
Gail.
by Gail Colby.
Colby.
And that's full of facts. If you're down by the beach area at all, you'd want to have a copy of that book.
Yeah, I have
And there's a
copy.
wonderful children's book that we have that was written by two Westbrook people, Fran Russell, who wrote it, and Bud Loomis, who illustrated it. And it's a fabulous book. The artwork is incredible. And that tells the story of Westbrook from the beginning up to 1840. And there's a couple of booklets on the Saybrook lighthouses, which Bucky Bach wrote.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Those
right.
are nice.
Right.
And, yeah, we have.
We did a show on
quite a
Bucky,
few
too,
things.
and on Gail.
Yeah.
I have to say this. I think this is such a great idea. This is their beautiful brochure. And these little crazy things, the first time I tried it, there's 3 tours on here. So if you just click on one of them, you know, which one you want, you can walk. You don't need a map or, you know, anything. It's
Yeah, it tells you where to walk and tells you
it's
about
great.
the houses you
It's
pass.
a great idea. So maybe you'll continue it when it's updated.
Yeah.
So
talked about it.
Yeah. And tell me, because I know so much of you is the genealogy, right? And you're
Yes.
at the library.
I volunteer at the library once a month for anyone that needs help with their genealogy. And I've been doing genealogy for probably 40 years.
So how'd you get started? Your own? Was that the
My
first one?
own, yeah, because I had inherited when my great aunts died. I just got all these boxes of paperwork and all this stuff. And when I started going through it, I realized it's all DAR information, historical stuff about the family, all this. And I'm just like, oh, it's kind of interesting. So then
Yeah.
I started putting it all together and formed a tree, and it just went from there.
Yeah, great for you. I think I would be very frustrated doing that. We had a beautiful picture, maybe you showed it, of the Bushnell House, the red building outside. It's kind of a long shot, and the carriage shed too. If maybe you could pop that in before we go on to another topic. Oh, we had another one. Is there another one there? So I'm going to ask you about upcoming events, but I want to know what's your most important thing in the...
In our society, we have a lot of objects in our museum. One was a recent donation, and it's so unique because there's probably only 12 of these ever made. And there's a set of these 5 books. It's a collection of magazine newspapers from World War II called Yank. They were published by the soldiers, not by the government. And the reason we have it is because one of the editors was Ralph Stein, who was a cartoonist. He did a lot of the Popeye cartoons. And he also published a lot of big coffee table books about antique cars. And he lived in Westbrook. And this is just an example of, you know, one of the cartoons and stories from the books. But when the war was over, they made about 12 sets of this and gave them to all the editors from the paper.
Oh, yeah.
And it's different from the Stars and Stripes, which the government put out.
Okay. What a
And
great
this,
find.
I just love this whole set.
So everybody can enjoy it.
Incredible,
Somebody
yes.
could actually,
Yes, they can
Look through, read it, right.
Come in and look at it, and it's just so unique
yeah,
that I really love
Yeah.
those.
yeah, great. And you have more than the one. You
There's a
have,
set of 5.
oh, a set of
all
5, yeah.
all through the war, yeah.
Okay. So what are your upcoming events? What's going on?
Yes, so,
Oh.
I mean, we're almost halfway through the year, so we've done a lot already, but we have, in June 14th is Connecticut's Open House Day, where all the museums and historical sites and all those will be open and have special events or something. And we'll have our Bushnell House open, and there'll be some fiber exhibits and a woman spinning on the spinning wheel and all doing that. There'll be, Gary Knopf will be there talking all about the Indians. He's got a nice exhibit on Indian fishing and hunting tools. And of course, the Bushnell House will be open for viewing. And so that should be a great day. And September 13th, we have our Day on the Green, which is our yearly fundraiser. It's an arts and crafts show, and our Museum on the Green is open for that day also. And in October, we have Kevin Johnson from his Connecticut Historical, he's a historical impersonator from the Connecticut State Library. And he will present James H. William. He was a janitor at Trinity College for over 50 years.
Wow.
Before that, he was an enslaved person, and then he had joined had service to the country, and it's a very interesting talk, and I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, that should be really
Those are our
good
upcoming
fun.
things.
Yeah, well, great. You're very active. You have wonderful buildings. The Bushnell
We
is
do.
so
We're very lucky.
impressive. You're very lucky, so keep up the good work.
Thank you.
And if anybody would like to be on this program, they could send me a note, my email at conteza, C-O-N-T-E-Z-S-A, @gmail.com. And I love doing this show. Thank you. You really made it interesting. And I hope to participate in some of your activities.